Hello everybody, I'm Josh Grover. Welcome to another video by Strategic Adjustments. We're on the road again and we're here in Chicago. We have the beautiful Bean behind us. If you take a look, there's a lot of mayhem, a lot of chaos, a lot of nonsense. You know, downtown Chicago, it's like, what do you choose from? What do you do? There's people everywhere. Like, what should I do? Where should I go? Same thing applies to poker for your game selection. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna do a tournament? Are you gonna do a cash game? Are you gonna go play in a home game? This video is all about figuring out your best game that you should be playing to make the most money, what you're gonna feel comfortable in, where you should be. We're gonna help you figure out that for you today. You don't wanna miss this. What's gonna happen if you end up in a game that you're not supposed to be in, you're not comfortable with, or you picked the wrong game. Let's say you had 30 different games to choose from on either a poker site or a poker room, and you're used to playing 1-2 no limit, and you get to the game and it is a 1-2 no limit, so all of a sudden you're a little bit comfortable, but the opening raise is, let's say, 25, and you're sitting with a bankroll of $1,000. You're instantly going to become uncomfortable, unless you're already used to this, but this is going to happen to a lot of players. There are a lot of games that you will jump in even though you're used to, and they will be way outside of the norm, and this can make you very uncomfortable, and it could be vice versa. You could be really used to playing let's say, for instance, 2-5 PLO, 2-4 PLO online, or the 2-5 at casinos, and you join the game and everyone's sitting with $100, and you're really used to being able to 3-bet light, or you know, you're kind of a gambler and you get it in a lot of spots. I mean, PLO is still you're never going to be that bad. You'll probably end up stuck at that point, just getting it in like 40% against 60% dogs. So game selection is so important, because if you end up in the wrong spot where that doesn't fit your player style, your gambling style, your comfortability, your bankroll, you won't find profit, and we definitely need you to find that maximum profit margin. You're not looking to play like long sessions. You want to get in for an hour, 2 or 3 and get out. This segment's for you. This happens to me a lot. There's a lot of times where I only have an hour or 2 to play. What game am I looking for? What game should you be looking for? Well, obviously, don't look at a tournament. Please don't sign up for one, just because what you're gonna do is you're gonna be in for about an hour or 2, and then you're gonna purposely knock yourself out, which we don't want that. I see people do it all the time. It's a horrible idea. Don't do that. So now we're looking at cash games. So what kind of cash game? So you're gonna be looking for the cash game where you can get involved in a couple gambling pots with people. What's gonna happen is if you sit down at a tight game, you're gonna be the one that's putting yourself in bad spots, and everyone else is gonna know this. They're just gonna be waiting to pick you off. They're gonna be watching your stack, knowing that you're gonna be leaving soon, and you're gonna be the target, and you will get picked off, I promise you. However, if you jump into a heavy gambling game where people are really going at it, really putting chips in, you're not even gonna be really a threat, because what's gonna happen is, even if you double up in that game, no one's going to be affected that much. If you hit and run that game, no one's going to be affected, and there's going to be so much going on in that environment for how heavy the gambling is, that they're not going to be putting a lot of attention on you when you're leaving anyway. So that's definitely the game that you're going to want to be looking for. This happens to me a lot. If I go to a casino and I have 2 or 3 hours, those are always the games I'm looking for. Just the ones that have the most chips on it. There's the most talking, the most gambling going on. You can get in and get out. No one's affected. It's awesome. And this segment of the video is for all you nits out there. Not my style, but I know a lot of people like to play super tight aggressive, which is definitely really good for tournament play. If you like to play long sessions and you're a really good tag player, tight aggressive player, go hit up some tournaments. Just make sure you prepare properly for them. Do the right things the day before, get a good night's sleep. Super important stuff if you're going to be putting in, anywhere from 10 to 14 hours for the day. If you're looking for cash games and you're a nit, it's really dependent on why you're playing so tight. If you're playing so tight because your bankroll is really small, I definitely don't suggest getting in a super heavy gambling game. You're going to be put in a lot of spots as a tighter player. There's going to be a lot of loose aggressive players, or even just recreational players that are going to either run you down and get you in bad spots. You're probably going to want to find more of like a medium level game. You definitely don't want to get into a super nitty game yourself either, because you're probably going to fold 30 or 40 hands in a row, raise one hand, and get the blind. So you definitely don't want that either. If it comes down to home games, which would be actually really good for you, just make sure you open up your game a little bit and don't play your normal super tight style, because you probably actually won't get invited back, and we don't want that. Home games can be a great place for a lot of action. You definitely want to get invited back, but no one is looking to have a huge nit at their home game. Everyone wants to have fun. Maybe if you are playing a super nitty style, I know a few people are really good at this. Have a beer, have a drink, joke, laugh, have a good time, talk, socialize, stay super tight, and no one will even realize that you're folding all these hands. This is actually a great style to take on. They will literally fold 40 to 50 hands in a row. They'll be drinking a beer, not a lot, you know, just chilling out, but they're so talkative and socializing and talking about other hands and having fun that people don't even realize that they're playing that tight. So by the time they get involved in a pot, they still get a lot of action, and that would be a great style for you to take on and games to go after. And now I'm going to talk to you all about the comfortability of the game that you're in. So this has to do with bankroll management. If there's such a big difference in player types and the comfortability of the game that you're in. Let's say a 1-2 no limit game, a buy-in of 200, and someone has $1,000. They might be able to play that game really well and not be affected, even if they lose 500. Whereas another player might lose even $100 or $200 in his head. He's like, oh my God, I lost 10 or 20% of my bankroll, and he's going to be affected much quicker and much harder. So finding out where you're at in your mentality based on bankroll is very dependent. It would be like me, if I only had, let's say I only had $1,000 left, I'm still going to be able to play 1-2 in such a way that other people wouldn't be able to, because my emotional level isn't going to be affected. So bankroll management can be a really strange thing, and it can affect people in a lot of different ways. So finding that balance is really important for your game selection. And I would say the perfect number that I've kind of found is about 2 buy-ins. If you lose 2 buy-ins and you're still not emotionally affected, I would say you're pretty much okay to be playing that game for a while. If you lose 2 buy-ins and you feel your emotions changing, you feel some tilt coming on, that's not good. You're playing too high. That's kind of a good rule for me. If I'm playing let's say 2-5 no limit buy-in of 500, and I lose $1,000 and I feel a little bit of tilt coming on, or my emotions are changing and I start playing different, obviously I know that's too high. These are really good rules to stick by. Whenever you're choosing your game, you should kind of know that level of where you're at. Make sure that your emotions aren't going to be changed by something as small as 2 buy-ins. Okay, now I'm going to mention if you're a smarter aggressive player, the kind of games that you could actually be looking for. A lot of people try and stay away from like nitty tight games, but if you're a smart aggressive player who knows how to play a lot of pots, kind of like a small ball, let's say you're a small ball player, and you go to a nitty game, if you're willing to put in a 10 to 14 hour session, you can actually crush these games. You can kill it. 1, you're gonna get all the blinds, which add up a lot over time. 2, you're gonna get great implied odds on smaller pots, and you're gonna snap off a lot of these nits. It's just gonna happen. So over a long session, what's gonna happen is you're gonna have super low variance in the game, and and you're gonna have really large wins. If you're a small ball player, I personally suggest finding a nitty game, playing in it for a long session. You're gonna have pretty decent sized wins and very small sized losses, which is great for bankroll building. It's one way that I built my bankroll when I was younger, was by playing in these games. You're gonna be stealing blinds the whole time. You're gonna be building that up. And to finish it off, I want to mention, if you're at any of these games where you don't feel comfortable in it, you don't feel comfortable, you want to get off, you know, your bankroll's not fit for the game, and you find this out a little too late, so you go sign yourself up at a casino for on the list for a new game. That's good, that's perfect. You know, you get yourself to a game that will fit your style better, you're gonna make more money. However, pay attention to the game you're in still. I see this leak or this mistake all the time. People will sign up for a new game and they won't be getting there for an hour, half hour to an hour, and they lose all concentration in the game they're in, and they just get steamrolled. Like they literally will just be staring at the other game, or they're staring at their phone. They don't care about the game they're in anymore, and they're either on auto fold, folding away all their blinds too, or they'll be like, just every once in a while look down, call, and they're just like burning money away like it's nothing. So just make sure you still pay really good attention, make the most you can in that game, finish it out. I hope you guys like this video. Subscribe, like below. We're gonna head out to Chicago and we're gonna bring you more stuff. All right, you all take care.